So welcome to class, and today's class on breathing in, breathing out, or the breath cycle. And I want to talk just for a couple of minutes about the physiology of breath, the structural physiology of breath. So when we take an inhale, right, the diaphragm contracts. The diaphragm, the muscle right underneath the right underneath the lungs, and that contracts, and it pushes on the abdominal contents or the abdominal area, and the belly will expand and sort of rise out. And the intercostals, they'll kind of lift the ribs and rotate the ribs. And then the thoracic spine, that's the mid back, expands. And we let air in. Okay, so the lungs expand and let air in. On the exhale, the lungs recoil because they have an elasticity property. So they recoil and they force the air out. The diaphragm gets pulled upward, and the rib cage pulled inward, and the thoracic spine contracts or pulls in. And sometimes we feel a little bit of inward movement in the abdominals. So that's what's happening physiologically or structurally, I guess, structurally when we are breathing. And so in yoga, breathing techniques are really designed to take advantage of and augment the structural changes that are already happening. So even just breathing in through your nostrils, breathing in and breathing out through the nostrils, helps facilitate a deepening of the poses, right? So we use the postures themselves to deepen, to extend, expand the structural changes in our body. So one thing, we'll start on our backs today, and we'll just do we'll do some slow sort of vinyasa moving, but we're really going to try to focus on the breath and focusing if you can, or touching base with having an awareness of some of these structural things that are happening in your body. So even if you're sitting right now, if you just rest your hands on your lap and you take a deep inhale, you should feel the expansion in your rib cage, the sternum lifting, and the mid back expanding. And as you take an exhale, you should feel that contracting back, okay? What I would invite you to remember today is that the breath comes first. The breath comes first. So we take an inhale that initiates, say, the movement of lifting the arms up overhead. And then we exhale, and that initiates the movement of the arms coming back through center. And if you're sitting, you could do just a couple of those. That's a pretty easy way to feel. As you inhale, rib cage expands, thoracic back expands, right? And as you exhale, everything pulls back in to get towards the midline. Okay? So just keeping in mind that the breath comes first. The breath is a container for the movement, and then we'll work from here. So if you're sitting right now, you could move to your back on your mat. And if you're already there, we'll meet you there. And just take a few moments to settle in, to empty before we fill. Resting either in Shavasana or a position of comfort. So as we work with the breath, we can also remember that the breath is, we bring nourishment into our body, we assimilate that, we send it out where it needs to go, we assimilate, we digest, and then we eliminate. And that's food, and that's information and ideas, energy, the prana, we talk about the prana. It's all the same. So where in the cycle might you get stuck? Okay, so now let's just, if you're not in a position of comfort, go ahead and do that. Bend your knees, take the soles of your feet to the floor, and just arms out to the side and just simple pelvic tilting. So on your inhale, draw the pubic bone away from the navel and lengthen through the belly space and feel the rising of your sternum and the lungs expanding, or the rib cage expanding structurally, lungs expanding. And then on your exhale, draw your pubic bone back towards your navel and gather at the abdomen and feel the ribs then go back in and the thoracic spine relaxes. And just do a couple like that, really feeling the structural action in the torso as you inhale and exhale. Remember that the breath comes first. The breath is the container for the movement. On your next exhale, draw your knees into your chest. And then on your inhale, push your knees away, lengthen through the belly, sternum expands towards the ceiling, ribs expand, and the exhale, pull your knees in. Inhale, press the knees away and open. So a little bit like a little back bend here. And on your exhale, pull your knees back in, and just maybe 3 to 6 more rounds there, depending on the length of your breath. On your next inhale, bring your legs up towards the ceiling, straighten the legs, and reach the arms out to the side. Or actually, let's reach the arms overhead. This will be the inhale, reaching arms overhead, lifting, stretching legs towards the ceiling. And on the exhale, gather everything back in. So pull your knees in towards your chest, hands on the front of your shins. On the inhale, reach the arms overhead, reach the feet towards the ceiling. So on the inhale, you'll notice with the arms lifted, that helps us to augment the structural changes. So ribs are widening, sternum's lifting. And on the exhale, as you bring your arms back in and pull the knees in, that helps us to facilitate the structural changes on the exhale. So Arms long, legs long. So we're working with axial extension in the upper body. And then squeezing the legs in, right? Sort of like a little bit of a cat-cow motion here. Breath comes first. And then the next time you're in an exhale with the knees in, just take your feet back to the floor, knees bent. Bring your arms to the goalpost position. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, drop your knees to the left. Now, twisting is interesting because on the left side of your body, you should feel contraction. You could even take your hand there. So you've got contraction on the left side body. The ribs are closer together on that side, the thoracic spine closer together. But on the other side, the right side, you should feel length. So we're going to work that length. So on your next inhale, then reach your right arm up and away and stretch through the right side body. Exhale, bring your right arm back to the goalpost. Inhale, sweep your knees back up to center. Exhale, drop your knees to the right. Inhale, stretch your left arm up and away. Exhale, bring your left arm back into the goalpost position. Feel everything contracting here. Inhale, sweep your knees back up to center. So exhaling to one side. Inhale, reach the opposite arm long. Exhale, bring that arm back to center. We're back to the goalpost. Inhale, both knees up. Exhale, knees to the other side. Inhale, stretch opposite arm long. Exhale, bring that arm back to goalpost. Inhale, knees back up to center. Continue that pattern just like that if you can. Exhale, you take the knees to the side, contracting one side of the body, and then an inhale to work the length in the opposite side. Exhale, both arms in the goalpost. Inhale, knees to center. Let's do 2 more times on each side. And then we'll come back to a position of comfort. And now just roll to one side, resting your head on your hand or reaching the lower arm out. You could rest your head on the extended lower arm, or you could cradle your head in your lower arm hand. And then reach through your feet like Tadasana. So you're in a Tadasana, side Tadasana. Try to be as straight as possible through your body. And just take a few inhales, a few exhales, a few rounds of breath here. You can use the front hand to help you balance. And then inhale the top arm up. And exhale as you gather the waist, the bottom waist, up towards midline. Inhale, reach the top leg up just 4 or 5 inches, keeping the feet in Tadasana. And with each exhale, really can pull everything in, press the lower foot into the floor for help, for balance, but really use the sideways to help keep you up, keep you upright. And from here, you could bend the top leg and place the top foot into Vrksasana position, tree pose. And when we hold a posture, we can still go back to those structural principles of the inhale and the exhale. So the inhale, the sternum lifts, the ribs expand. And on the exhale, we facilitate the structural changes by pulling the abdomen in, so contracting at the abdomen. Release your top leg if you have it in Vrksasana, and just take it and do a stretch here to open the front of the thigh. And then release and move to the other side. Begin by stretching through both feet, lying down in a Tadasana shape, and either resting on the outstretched bottom arm or cradling your head in your hand. And inhale the top arm up. Exhale, pull, gather at the center. Press your bottom foot into the floor. Inhale to lift the top foot. So here the inhale helps us stay in this extension, axial extension, so length through the back. And the exhale helps us gather the side waist up to remain balanced. And you could try here, if you want to, bending the top leg and pressing that leg into your thigh in Vrksasana. And even though we're relatively still, we're still moving, we're still vibrating, pulsating, we're still got lots going on. So can the breath be the container for the movement? Release the top leg and take the top foot with your top hand, reaching and stretching the top of the thigh here, the front of the thigh. Notice too, if you lose contact with the breath, if you stop that awareness sometimes, or you get shallow with your breath, what might happen with your structure. And then we'll let that go, release right to the belly, and come to the Sphinx pose. So forearms, elbows underneath shoulders, forearms parallel to one another. And here, just feeling as you inhale, pressing into your forearms, reaching the sternum forward and broadening across the upper chest, ribs expanding. And on the exhale, draw the navel up and in. Press pubic bone into the floor. Inhale. exhale. So we're concentrating or bringing your awareness to one of those structural movements that's happening as you inhale, and on the exhale, really helping facilitate the posture by drawing the navel up and in. And let the breath be the container, so the breath begins the movement. And then we'll just make a little pillow with our hands, come forehead down to the floor. I'll keep my head lifted just for a minute to speak for just a minute here. So the inhale, the back bend is a classic inhale, right, movement. So when we do an inhale, we are lifting, we're expanding through the upper body, through the chest, rather through the upper chest. The sternum lifts, the ribs separate, and the thoracic spine expands. Okay, so we'll start just with our head down on the floor, and on your inhale, press into your forearms and feel the expansion across the upper chest, the sternum lifting, and on your exhale, just lower things, but pull the navel up and in. And then just repeat that as many times as you need to sort of really feel those structural actions in the body with the breath. Breath is first, breath is the container. And let's do one more. We'll meet on the floor. And now bring your arms alongside your body. Okay, so there are certain things we can do to help facilitate the structural changes. So on the inhale, for instance, we often lift our arms above our head. When we're in this locust pose, we can lift the arms up away from the floor and either interlace at your sacrum, interlace your hands at your sacrum, or just lift and reach your arms back, and then inhale and lift your chest. So the lifting of the arms helps to facilitate the opening across the upper chest, lifting of the sternum, and then you can release back down, take one cheek or temple to the mat, softly move your sacrum back and forth. We'll just do a couple of these so you can really feel the work. Inhale and exhale here. So whenever you're ready, bring your forehead back to center. Lift the arms as you lift the chest on the inhale. Remember that the breath comes first. Exhale to lower everything back down. And then the next time, everyone is back down on the belly, forehead on the floor. Just bring your hands alongside your body, underneath the shoulders, and press yourself up to table. And here we do this so many times in yoga practice. As you move through cat-cow, inhale, you really pull the chest forward, widen, through the upper chest, the sternum lifts, and on the exhale, you really feel the contracting and the rounding as you press into your hands, tuck your chin and tuck your tail. So a few cat-cows. Breath comes first. And we'll meet in neutral. And now we'll extend, we'll inhale and extend the right arm up. So you have length through one side of the body. And then on the exhale, you pivot, twist, and reach in the opposite direction. And we'll vinyasa this a little bit so we really get the inhale and the exhale, feeling for the inhale and the exhale. So inhale, sweep the arm up, exhale, reach underneath, feel the contraction of everything, and just a few times before you stop and hold. And then once you come down to hold this, resting on the outside of that shoulder that's swept underneath, opposite arm can come forward, rest on your sacrum, or reach around for a bind. But now in this stillness and holding the posture, can you keep the breath engaged? Can you feel the structural changes? Maybe there's some awareness to the whole process of gathering in, taking in, assimilating, allowing it to be a part of you, whatever it is, digesting and eliminating. And take the top arm beside your head, press up, come back to the table, and just a few cat-cows to neutralize everything. And then we'll take the opposite side. So inhale and sweep the opposite arm up. Feel the length, feel that thoracic spines opening there, rib cage on that side, and exhale, you sweep through. A few rounds here, friends. And when you're ready, reaching through, coming to a hold. Opposite arm can come forward or rest on your sacrum. Really let the breath just bathe you, just really bring nourishment to all your cells. Top hand presses you back up to the table position. Take a few rounds here of cat-cow. We'll meet in the neutral position, so just a little bit of forward tilt in the pelvis. And then exhale as you press into your hands, bring your hips back. So now we contract everything in, but we still keep this length through the arms. Okay, inhale, you'll sweep your nose along the floor. Reach, 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 reach with the chest and come into the cow position. And then exhale, turn the toes under, press back into downward facing dog. We're gonna take an extra breath cycle here in downward dog, because really, in downward dog, the upper body's in axial extension, and that's an inhale. That is facilitated by the inhale. So feel length. You might have to bend your knees and tilt the pelvis forward a bit, but feel length in through your back. And exhale, gather. And then on the next inhale, bring your knees back to the floor and come back to cow. And then on your exhale, drop your hips back into the child's pose. On your next inhale, come up onto your knees and sweep your arms overhead. And then on your next exhale, we'll twist to one side. It doesn't matter which side, just twist to one side. Hands on your hips. Feel the contraction on the side to which you've twisted. Inhale, sweep the arms back up. Exhale, drop your hands to the mat, set your hips back into child's pose. Inhale, back up into the cow. Exhale, turn toes under, press hips back up, downward facing dog. Inhale, reach, length through the spine. Exhale, gather. Inhale, drop to your knees, cow. Exhale, hips back, child's pose. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, twist in the opposite direction. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold. Draw your navel in really tightly here as you fold, hands to the mat, hips back. Inhale, cow. Exhale, turn toes under, downward facing dog. Inhale, work the length in your spine. Exhale, gather at the core. Inhale, knees to the floor, cow. Exhale, hips back, child's pose. Inhale, come up onto your knees, sweep your arms overhead, feel the length. Exhale, twist to one side. Inhale, sweep the arms back up. Exhale, drop hips back, hands forward, child's pose. Inhale, come back up to cow. Turn toes under, exhale, hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale, work the extension through your back, lengthen through the back. Exhale, gather. Inhale, knees to the floor, cow. Exhale, hips back. Inhale, sweep up onto your knees, lift the arms up. Exhale, twist to the opposite side. Really gather everything in at the core. Inhale, come back to center. And exhale, drop your hips back, child's pose. So we did 2 full cycles of that, twisting in both directions, part of the cycle. So try 1 more full cycle on your own. And if you get it a little wrong, it doesn't matter. Really working with the breath. The breath comes first. Let the breath be the container for your movement. Perhaps you can even lengthen both the inhale and the exhale in this last round that you're doing. We'll meet in child's pose. So typically when we come to child's pose, it's on an exhale. So it's a gathering in. Any kind of forward fold, we actually need, right, the abdominals to sort of pull up and in so we have space to fold. We need the ribs in tighter. But even in this child's pose now, can you work both the inhale and the exhale? Maybe you take your arms out to the T position and do some opening in the underarms. Maybe your arms are alongside your body. Or maybe out in front. Just take a couple more rounds of breath here. And on your next inhale, reach your arms out in front of you. Press yourself up to table. Curl the toes under. Press yourself up to downward facing dog. And then walk your feet to your hands, coming to the front of your mat. If you have your blocks or blocks handy, you could bring those to the front of your mat with you. Okay, so pressing into your feet, take your hands to your hips, elbows in tight, and hinge up here at the waist. Okay, let's do a few half suns here. Again, if you have your blocks, they'll be handy for you and help support you in your blocks. Let's change my orientation a bit. So now in Tadasana, feel a gathering in here, feet firmly planted. And let's just begin with the arms. So here's the inhale. So on the inhale, we sweep the arms up. You might really sense how your ribs expand, the sternum lifts, right? And on your exhale, as you lower down, opposite thing is happening. So there's our structural movement. And just repeat a couple of those. And I would invite you with each exhale now, with each exhale to really draw the navel up and in and really pull the corset tight. and really ground into your feet. So now the next time you sweep the arms up overhead, you will notice probably that you have just a little bit of arch in the back, right? You've lifted the arms up. We stay here for a sec while we talk about this. And you've got a little bit of a forward tilt in the pelvis. That's because we need that for the forward fold. So as you forward fold, you can bend through the knees or you can keep the legs straight, but keeping that little bit of forward tilt in the pelvis, come into your fold, draw things in as you fold so you have the space to come into the fold. And here, blocks are handy, right? 1 or 2. On your next inhale, reach your crown of your head away from your pelvis and come into the halfway lift, the Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale. This is an inhale because this is length through the spine, axial extension. And then on your exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands come through heart center, resting in Tadasana. Draw everything in. Inhale, sweep arms up. Exhale, fold through center. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, fold. Hands to hips, elbows in. Inhale, lift. Or you could do the sweeping of the arms. Depends on your back a little bit. So we'll just do a few more of those half suns. Remember that the breath begins. So this next exhale, we'll fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen everything. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep everything up. Could even take a look at your hands. Now we've got the little bit bigger back bend. Keep that pelvic tilt forward as you exhale and fold. Space for the belly to pull in. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep everything up. Exhale, fold. Do a couple more just on your own. We're going to meet with the arms overhead. And so the next time you land there, just arms up overhead, feet a little distance apart. So let's look at the side bend and what happens with the side bend. So interlace your hands. And as we exhale, all right, if I'm exhaling, I'm pressing over to my right. So right side body is contracted. This is the exhale. And then I stay here and I work the other side with the inhale. Inhale to get a little more length. Exhale. And then we'll inhale, hands back behind our head. And exhale, press in the opposite direction. And just like our downward facing dog, we'll do an extra breath here. So inhale to get a little more side stretch. Exhale to contract. And then the inhale brings us back to center. And then we'll take the other side. And just do a few of these on your own. Breath comes first. And the next time you find yourself back to center with the hands behind your head, just release your arms down to the side. Take a big wide stance. And just take a few breaths here. Feel the groundedness through your feet. We'll come to warrior 2 feet. So turn one foot out to line up with the long edge of your mat, and then the other heel out if you want to have a block of any kind towards the front of your mat for anything you can. We'll start in the warrior 2. So first let's just get the arms and the legs set. So legs set, arms reaching out, looking out through your fingertips and making sure your arms are sort of in the same plane here. And then we'll exhale to come down, bending into the front knee as low as you want to go. And then on the inhale, we'll draw everything together, reach the arms up. Feel the length, feel the expansion in the upper body. And the exhale, we ground everything down. Inhale, sweep arms up. And exhale, settle down into your warrior. So just take a few rounds like this. And then the next time you land in the warrior 2, stay there. Take a few rounds of breath. Where can you get expansion? So the inhale is typically expansion. Where can you get expansion as you hold the posture? On your next inhale, turn your front palm and reach forward. And on the exhale, come back, exalted warrior. Now here we take an extra breath and work this open side. Inhale. And exhale, gather. And inhale, sweep the arms forward. Back to warrior 2 and exhale, gather everything in. And then inhale, straighten the front leg, bring the arms up, turn both feet to face, line up with the short edge of your mat, and exhale, hands through center. Then set up the opposite side. So front foot lines up with the long edge of your mat, back foot in slightly. And just start with, you can have your feet lined up, heel to heel or heel to arch. Just do what feels right in your body. Reach the arms out and take a look at your arms. Take a look at your hands. Okay, sometimes we have our hands pointed up towards the ceiling. Can you really make the the palms parallel to the floor, reaching through the ring finger. We'll drop down into the legs, and the inhale will bring us back up, reaching through side bodies, extending through the spine, extending through the upper chest, and this little vinyasa, just like the other side. Next time you land in the warrior two, the strong warrior two here, take a few rounds of breath, feeling both the inhale and the exhale, where obviously we're contracted here. We've got a lot going on in the legs, fierceness, contraction. Where can you expand? And then as you turn the front hand, inhale to reach, and exhale, come back. And then we work this side. So now inhale, and exhale, gather. And inhale to sweep back up, bringing the arms back into warrior two arms, and exhale to contract. Pull everything in, and then we'll inhale, arms up, turn both feet to face, line up with the short edge of your mat. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Just rest here, drawing your feet isometrically together. And then with hands on hips, inhale to open through the sternum. A little bit of forward tilt in the pelvis as you fold forward. This is the exhale. And here you could have a block underneath your sternum. You could rest your head on the block. Hands might be all the way to the floor. Keep some energy in your legs. I'm going to take one hand underneath your sternum and inhale the opposite arm up. And then here, exhale and work the contracted side. And take a few breaths here. Inhale, length through the spine, lengthen between the top of the head and the pelvis. And exhale, work the twist. Relax your head. And then coming back to center, we'll take the other side. So on the inhale, sweep the opposite arm up. And exhale, feel the contraction, working the twist. Inhale, reaching the crown of your head away from your pelvis. So you're getting length through the spine. Exhale to work the twist. And the final exhale will bring you back to the floor. Stay in the forward fold here and just take a couple of cat-cows. So on your inhale, reach your chest forward, lift your gaze, lift your tail feathers. On your exhale, round through your spine slightly. Press into your hands through the blocks. Just a few cat-cows here, neutralizing the spine, coming back to symmetry. If it worked better for you to bring the feet a little closer together, you could take your forearms to your thighs and do a few rounds of cat-cow this way. Just do what feels supportive for you. Good. And then we'll all bring the feet together and come through just a momentary squat and onto our seat. So classic, one of these postures that seems like nothing's happening. We'll come to Dandasana and we'll begin with the hands behind us. So we did this in a class earlier this year, and what I want you to feel for here with your hands back here is that you have that little bit of arch in your back, a little bit of forward movement in the pelvis. Okay, and then if you have that, you can walk your hands towards your hips so that you're sitting in the L shape. Pull your toes back towards your shins and press your hamstrings into the floor. And then if you have that arch in your back, that little arch in your back, you can fold forward. So the inhale, you might be helped by the inhale, right? Inhale, take the arms up. And then exhale, you take the fold. And fold wherever works in your body. Or you might just inhale, lift the sternum, expand through the ribs, expand through the thoracic spine, and then exhale, you draw everything in as you fold, as per your capacity. And each inhale now, inhale to lift the sternum, right? Exhale, gather, and see if you can come a little deeper. But you might be up here. You might be in a pretty upright position. That's fine. So you inhale, expand through the upper chest, and then exhale, just take a little fold. Great, and then from here, just scoot your hips towards your heels, come down to your back. Take just a few minutes to do what feels nice in your body, maybe pulling the knees in or moving the knees around in a circle, maybe taking the legs long. Just, I'll guide in a minute. And then we'll come to a position of comfort. So moving through a bridge, dynamic bridge, and thinking about now, where's the exhale, where's the inhale? So if I inhale, I get a little bit of tilt in my pelvis. I just get my low back off the floor slightly, and then I press into my feet. The arms coming overhead really, again, help to sort of facilitate or augment the structural changes in the body on the inhale. And then the arms being lowered on the exhale help augment structural changes on the exhale. So do a few rounds of those and really with this awareness of how the inhale and the exhale are affecting your structure. One affects the other. And makes it all the more powerful. Breath first. And as you continue now, just really, can you drop into the more metaphysical part of this practice? That this is a prayer. The expansion, the giving, the receiving, the expansion, the contraction. This is a prayer. As you finish up your practice, taking as many of these dynamic bridge shapes as you want, or holding the bridge, or something else that might delight you. And finally, coming into a resting Shavasana. And when you've settled into Shavasana, perhaps just sensing the ride of the breath, the wave of the breath. Letting each exhale just fall and settle like the leaves at this time of year, just float down to the earth and settle. And the inhale maybe stirs everything up again. You might bring your hands to your belly to feel the breath with your hands. And I'll leave you in Shavasana if that's where you want to be today. If you'd like to come back up to a seat, come on up and take your hands to your heart in a gesture of prayer that feels right for you. May you be surprised today. May you find joy and blessing in your day. Namaste.